The stars look different from the observation deck of the Galactic Council's main chamber. 30 different species from across the universe gathered here to discuss the fate of countless worlds. Today, they focused on just one: Earth. Commander Zixtal stood with his 4 arms clasped behind his back, his scaled skin reflecting the light of distant suns. For 200 years, he had led the Council's Planetary Integration Department. In that time, he had overseen the peaceful limitation of 17 potentially dangerous species. Earth would be number 18. The humans continue to advance at an alarming rate, he said to the chamber. Their technology has doubled in capability every decade since their industrial revolution. Their weapons grow more destructive. Their population expands without control. The council members murmured in agreement. A holographic display in the center of the room showed Earth, blue and beautiful against the blackness of space. If we allow them to continue unchecked, Zixtal continued, simulations show they will develop faster than light travel within 50 years. Given their history of conflict, this poses an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. From the back of the chamber, a soft voice spoke. And yet they show remarkable potential. Their art, their music, their capacity for candidness. Thank you, Representative Mira, Zixtal interrupted. Your species always sees the best in others. But the facts remain clear. Humanity's aggression outweighs their positive qualities. The standard limitation protocol must be implemented. The vote was quick and nearly unanimous. Only 3 council members opposed the plan. Zixtal turned to his most trusted agent, who stood quietly in the shadows. Special Observer Krelax, you will oversee the final assessment. Go to Earth. Confirm our findings. The limitation protocol will begin in 3 months. Krelax bowed low, his slender form almost bending in half. It will be done, Commander. On Earth, nobody knew about the decision that would alter humanity's future. Life continued as it always had. In Houston, Texas, Dr. Alan Porter stared at his computer screen with growing confusion. Susan, can you look at this? He called to his colleague across the lab. Dr. Susan Miller pushed her glasses up and walked over. Her lab coat was stained with coffee from a long night of work. What am I looking at, Alan? These energy readings from Jupiter's moon Europa. They started 3 days ago and keep getting stronger. Susan frowned. That can't be right. Run it again. Alan typed quickly. I've run it 5 times. Something is out there, and it's not natural. Across the country in Washington, D.C., Major Lisa Wright stood before her superior officers with a folder of evidence they didn't want to see. Sir, we've detected unusual communications patterns bouncing off our satellites. They're using our own technology to relay messages, but the source isn't ours. General Banks sighed heavily. Right, do you know how many alien communication reports I get each year? Unless you have concrete proof, this is a waste of my time. Lisa straightened her uniform. With respect, sir, I've ruled out all terrestrial explanations. Something is watching us, and they're getting careless. In rural Nebraska, Sheriff Joe Harris received a call about a strange light in the sky. Most nights, he would have ignored it as just another UFO enthusiast seeing things. But tonight felt different. The light had been reported by Pete Gunderson, a farmer who had never reported anything in 30 years except for actual emergencies. As Joe drove down the empty country road, he saw it. A streak of blue-green light cutting across the sky. It wasn't a meteor. It moved too deliberately, like it was trying to control its descent. Then it disappeared behind a hill. When Joe's truck crested the hill, he slammed on his brakes. In the field below was a smoking crater, and crawling from the wreckage was a figure that was definitely not human. Joe drew his gun with shaking hands, then slowly lowered it. The creature was clearly injured. It looked up at him with 3 large eyes that reflected the moonlight. Help, it said in perfect English. They cannot know I crashed here. Unknown to all of them, the scientists, the military officer, the small-town sheriff, the clock was ticking. In 3 months, Earth would face judgment. The Galactic Council had a plan for humanity. But soon, humanity would have a plan of its own. Sheriff Joe Harris had seen many strange things in his 15 years of police work, but nothing like this. The alien was about 5 feet tall with light blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Its 3 eyes blinked at different times, and it held one of its 4 arms at an odd angle. "Please," the alien said again. "If they find me here, we both face danger." Joe lowered his gun completely but didn't put it away. "Who are they?" "My own people. The Council." The alien winced in pain. "My name is Krelax. I am an observer." In the distance, Joe heard sirens. Someone else had seen the crash and called it in. He made a split-second decision that would change everything. "Get in my truck. Now." The alien moved surprisingly fast for someone injured. Joe threw a blanket over it just as 2 county police cars pulled up. Deputy Frank Miller jumped out. "Sheriff, what happened?" "We got calls about something crashing." Joe shrugged, trying to look casual even though his heart pounded in his chest. "Meteor, looks like. Nothing interesting. I'll file a report in the morning." Frank peered at the smoking crater. "Should we call the science folks from the college?" "Nah," Joe said. "Just some space rock. Let's not make this a big deal." After Frank left, Joe drove home with the alien hidden in his truck. He lived alone on 10 acres outside of town, which seemed like a good thing now. Once inside, he watched as Krelax examined his living room, with all 3 eyes moving independently. "Why did you help me?" the alien asked. Joe took a deep breath. "Good question. I guess because you were hurt. Now tell me why you're here." Krelax sat carefully on Joe's couch. "I was sent to make final observations of Earth before the Council implements the limitation protocol. My ship malfunctioned. This was not supposed to happen." "Limitation protocol. What's that?" The alien looked at Joe with something like sadness in its strange eyes. "Your species has been deemed too aggressive to join galactic society without limitation. The Council will alter your development to ensure humans remain confined to this solar system for the next 1,000 years. Joe felt cold fear spread through his body. "You mean you're going to stop us from advancing?" "How?" "Various methods. Subtle genetic modifications to reduce aggression and curiosity. Atmospheric changes to prevent deep space travel. Destruction of certain technological advancements." "That's invasion," Joe said. "We'll fight back." Krelax made a strange sound that might have been laughter. "You would not even know it was happening until it was done. The Council has performed this procedure 17 times before." Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., Major Lisa Wright wasn't giving up. After her superiors dismissed her concerns, she reached out to Eric Donovan, a civilian computer specialist known for his unconventional methods. They met in a small coffee shop away from government buildings. Eric was younger than Lisa expected, with bright eyes and constant movement. "So you think aliens are hacking our satellites?" he asked too loudly. Lisa shushed him. "Keep your voice down. I don't know what they are, but the signals aren't human in origin. Can you help me track them?" Eric grinned. "A real X-Files situation. I'm in." Back in Houston, Dr. Alan Porter and Dr. Susan Miller worked through the night analyzing the strange energy readings from Europa. "It's like nothing I've ever seen," Susan said, rubbing her tired eyes. "It's not just coming from Europa. There's something there, transmitting." Alan nodded. "And whatever it is, it's watching Earth." He didn't know how right he was. On the Council's observation base, hidden on Europa, Commander Zixtal received an urgent message. Special Observer Krelax's ship had gone missing over Earth's northern hemisphere. "Find him," Zixtal ordered. "If humans have captured him, we may need to accelerate the protocol. Earth cannot be allowed to acquire our technology." The commander looked at the blue planet visible on his monitors. "Send in the retrieval team. Authorized to use force if necessary." On Earth, in a small Nebraska farmhouse, Sheriff Joe Harris made a call to NASA. "I need to speak with Dr. Alan Porter," he said. "It's an emergency." The pieces were starting to come together, but time was running out. Dr. Alan Porter was about to leave his lab when his phone rang. The voice on the other end belonged to a man who identified himself as Sheriff Joe Harris from Nebraska. "I know this sounds crazy," Joe said, "but I have an alien in my house. It crashed near my town last night. It says it knows about some observation post near Jupiter." Alan's hand tightened on the phone. He looked at Susan, who was watching him with curious eyes. "Sheriff, I'm going to put you on speaker. My colleague Dr. Miller is here. Can you ask your visitor about the energy signals coming from Europa?" Joe relayed the question. Alan and Susan heard a strange voice respond. "That is the Council's main observation post for your solar system. They have been watching Earth for centuries." Susan gasped. Alan tried to keep his voice steady. "We need to meet. Can you bring your visitor to Houston?" "Too risky," Joe replied. "There are people looking for it already. Can you come here?" 24 hours later, Alan and Susan pulled up to Joe's farmhouse in a rented car. The sheriff met them on the porch, looking like he hadn't slept. "Thanks for coming," he said. "Krelax is inside. Fair warning, it looks pretty strange." Despite Joe's warning, both scientists froze when they saw the blue-skinned, three-eyed alien sitting at the kitchen table drinking water through a straw. "Greetings, humans," Krelax said. "I apologize for the circumstances of our meeting." After the initial shock wore off, they got down to business. Alan spread out printouts of his data from Europa. Krelax examined them with all three eyes. "Yes, this is the energy signature of our quantum transmitters. The Council has been preparing for the limitation protocol for some time." "You need to tell us everything," Susan said. "What exactly is this protocol?" Krelax explained in more detail than he had given Joe. The Council would send thousands of microscopically small robots into Earth's atmosphere. These robots would gradually release chemicals that would subtly change human DNA over generations. People would become less aggressive, less curious, and more content to stay on their own planet. "The process is designed to be humane," Krelax said. "You would not suffer. You would simply change direction as a species." "That's horrible," Susan whispered. "It's genocide," Alan said firmly. "Changing who we are without our consent is killing what makes us human." Joe leaned forward. "How do we stop it?" Krelax's eyes blinked in sequence. "You cannot. The Council controls technology beyond your comprehension. Your entire military could not stop one Council ship." In Washington, D.C., Major Lisa Wright stared at her computer screen in shock. Eric Donovan had managed to decrypt part of the alien transmission she had detected. "This can't be right," she said. "According to this, Earth has been designated as Cultivation Case #7492, a planet with intelligent life requiring management." Eric nodded grimly. "There's more. I found references to something called the Standard Limitation Protocol, and a timeline. It's scheduled to begin in less than 3 months." Lisa printed the decrypted files. "We need to take this up the chain of command immediately." But when she presented her findings to General Banks and other military leaders, they remained skeptical. "Major Wright, these translations are based on signals that might not even be extraterrestrial," General Banks said dismissively. "We need more evidence before we start preparing for an alien invasion." "Sir, with respect, by then it might be too late," Lisa argued. As she left the Pentagon, Lisa received a call from an unknown number. "Major Wright, my name is Dr. Alan Porter from NASA. I believe we're working on the same problem. We need to meet. I have someone with me who can confirm everything you've discovered." "Who is this someone?" Lisa asked. There was a pause before Alan answered. "A member of the Galactic Council who wants to help us. We're on our way to DC now." In orbit around Earth, a Council retrieval ship arrived. Its commander received orders directly from Zixtal. "Find Krelax. If he has made contact with humans, eliminate all witnesses. The limitation protocol must proceed without interference. The ship began its descent toward North America, completely invisible to Earth's detection systems. The meeting took place in a small, secure room at the back of a government building in Washington, D.C. Major Lisa Wright sat across from Dr. Alan Porter, Dr. Susan Miller, Sheriff Joe Harris, and the alien called Krelax. Eric Donovan paced nervously near the door. "I still can't believe this is happening," Lisa said, staring at Krelax. "An actual alien." "Believe it," Joe said, "and believe that we're in serious trouble." Alan spread out maps, data printouts, and Eric's decoded transmissions on the table. "We need to compare notes and make a plan. Fast." For the next hour, they shared everything they knew. Lisa and Eric explained how they had detected the alien communications. Alan and Susan showed their findings about the observation post on Europa. Joe described finding Krelax after his crash. "The Council sees humans as dangerous," Susan summarized. "They think we'll bring conflict to the galaxy if we develop space travel, so they plan to change us." "Can we fight them?" Lisa asked, her military training coming to the fore. Krelax shook his head. "The Council has technology thousands of years beyond yours. War would end only one way." Eric stopped pacing. "What about diplomacy? Can we talk to them?" "The decision has already been made," Krelax said. "The Council rarely reverses its judgments." Joe, who had been quiet for a while, suddenly spoke up. "You said rarely, not never. What would make them change their minds?" Krelax's three eyes blinked in sequence. "The Council operates on strict rules. They won't impose limitations on species considered advanced enough to be peers." "And what makes a species a peer?" Alan asked. "Several factors," Krelax explained. "Technological advancement, peaceful civilization, cultural maturity, and most importantly, the ability to solve planetary-scale problems." The humans exchanged looks. Susan was the first to understand. "They think we can't solve our own problems," she said. "They believe we'll destroy ourselves if left unchecked." "Correct," Krelax confirmed. "The Council's simulations show Earth's civilization will self-destruct within 200 years without intervention." Lisa stood up and walked to the window. "So to stop them, we need to prove those simulations wrong." "In less than 3 months," Joe added grimly. Alan began writing on a notepad. "What if we showed them that humans can solve global problems when properly motivated? What's our biggest planetary challenge right now?" "Climate change," Susan said immediately. "Rising temperatures, ocean acidification, extreme weather." "Could we use something from Krelax's ship?" Joe asked. "Some piece of their technology." Krelax tilted his head. "My shuttle's power core remains intact. It uses zero-point energy. With proper modification, it could power entire cities without pollution." Eric snapped his fingers. "That could work. We adapt alien tech to solve a human problem. Show them we can handle advanced knowledge responsibly." As they discussed possibilities, Lisa's phone buzzed. It was a secure message from her Pentagon contact. "We have a problem," she announced. "Satellite tracking just picked up something entering Earth's atmosphere. It's using technology similar to the signals we intercepted." "The retrieval team," Krelax said, his voice filled with fear. "They will be looking for me, and they will eliminate anyone who has had contact with me." "How much time do we have?" Alan asked. "They're landing near Nebraska, probably tracking Krelax's shuttle," Lisa said. "My house," Joe realized. "That's where they'll start looking." "We need to move," Susan said. "And we need help." Alan nodded. "I have contacts at NASA who will believe us if they see Krelax. I know people in the military who will help once they understand the threat," Lisa added. "Then let's split up," Joe suggested. "Some of us get Krelax's power core. Others gather allies. We meet back at a secure location." As they prepared to leave, Krelax spoke quietly. "You should know that what you're attempting has never been done before. No species has ever changed the Council's decision. Joe smiled grimly. Then humans will be the first. We're good at doing the impossible. Outside, the retrieval ship landed silently in a Nebraska field, its crew of 4 Council agents emerging with weapons drawn. The hunt had begun. The retrieval team moved quickly through Sheriff Joe's empty house. Their leader, Agent Vorlex, held up a scanner that blinked rapidly. Krelax was here recently, he told his team. And humans. At least 3 different genetic signatures. A younger agent examined the kitchen table. Look at these. He pointed to papers with diagrams and calculations. The humans know about the protocol. Vorlex's 4-fingered hand crushed the papers. This complicates things. Find where they went. The Council must be informed immediately. Meanwhile, Joe, Alan, and Krelax drove through the night toward a small private airfield where Susan waited with a chartered plane. They had decided that Lisa and Eric would stay in Washington to gather government support, while the others retrieved the power core from Krelax's crashed ship. We're being followed, Joe said suddenly, checking his rearview mirror. Black SUV, about half a mile back. Alan turned to look. Government? Do you think Lisa's superiors changed their minds? No, Krelax said from under a blanket in the backseat. Council technology. They can track my biological signature. Joe pressed the gas pedal harder. How do we lose them? We can't, Krelax replied. But I can create a distraction. The alien pulled a small device from his pocket. It looked like a smooth silver egg. This is an emergency beacon. When activated, it will send a signal that will temporarily disrupt their scanners. Do it, Joe said. Krelax pressed the egg, which began to glow. He threw it out the window into a field. The black SUV immediately swerved off the road toward the beacon. That won't fool them for long, Krelax warned. They reached the airfield an hour later. Susan was waiting next to a small plane with 2 other people, a pilot and a woman in a lab coat. This is Dr. Olivia Green. Susan introduced them. She's an expert in alternative energy. She believes us. Olivia looked at Krelax with wide eyes but professional composure. Dr. Miller explained everything. If your power core works as described, it could revolutionize Earth's energy systems. Where is your crashed ship? She asked Krelax. The alien pointed to a map Joe had brought. Here, in this field, the ship's cloaking system should still be active, making it invisible to human eyes. The pilot, a former military man named Pete who asked no questions after Susan paid him in cash, got them airborne quickly. From the air, Joe pointed out the black SUV now back on the main road, heading in their direction. We need to hurry, he said. In Washington, D.C., Lisa and Eric faced their own challenges. Most officials still didn't believe their story, even with the decoded transmissions as evidence. Without physical proof, we can't take this to the president, General Banks insisted. Lisa stood her ground. Sir, by the time we have physical proof, it might be too late. Eric, who had been typing frantically on his laptop, suddenly looked up. I have something. I've been analyzing more council communications. There's a pattern in when the limitation protocol has been used before, always on species reaching a certain technological threshold. He turned his laptop around to show them, and I found references to 3 council species who opposed the decision on Earth. They believe the simulations are flawed because they don't account for human adaptability. General Banks leaned forward, finally interested. You're saying there's division in their ranks? Yes, Eric said. We might have allies we don't know about. Lisa saw her opportunity. Sir, if we could establish communication with these dissenting council members, we might create a diplomatic option. Back on the plane, they approached the crash site. From the air, they saw nothing until Krelax adjusted something on his wrist device. Suddenly, a silver craft appeared in the field below, partially buried in dirt. There it is, Alan said with awe in his voice. And there they are, Joe pointed. The black SUV had arrived at the edge of the field. 4 figures emerge, holding what were clearly weapons. "We're running out of time," Susan said. Krelax looked at the humans with all three eyes. "The power core is our only chance. We must reach it before they do." Pete brought the plane down in a rough landing on the field. The race was on. The plane door opened, and Joe was the first one out. He had his sheriff's gun drawn, though he doubted it would do much against alien weapons. "Stay behind me," he told the others. The retrieval team spotted them immediately. The leader, Vorlex, raised a sleek silver device that hummed with energy. "Return the fugitive Krelax to us," Vorlex demanded. "Do this, and we may spare your lives." Ellen stepped forward, hands raised. "We need to talk. The Council's decision about Earth is based on incomplete information." Vorlex didn't lower his weapon. "The Council does not negotiate with pre-inclusion species. Then why are some Council members against the protocol for Earth?" Susan called out, remembering what Lisa and Eric had discovered. This made Vorlex pause. "What do you know of Council politics, human?" While they talked, Dr. Olivia Green and Krelax slipped around the side of the plane, moving slowly toward the crashed ship. "The power core is behind the main control panel," Krelax whispered. "We need 5 minutes to extract it safely." Back in Washington, Lisa and Eric had finally gotten through to someone who would listen. Admiral Helen Clark, head of Naval Intelligence, had seen enough unusual phenomena in her career to keep an open mind. "If what you're saying is true," Admiral Clark said, "we need to establish communication with these sympathetic Council species immediately." Eric nodded eagerly. "I've been working on modifying our satellite array to send a signal they might recognize. But we need more power and authorized access." Admiral Clark picked up her secure phone. "Let's get you that access." At the crash site, Joe kept the retrieval team talking while Olivia and Krelax worked frantically on the ship. "You keep saying humans are too violent," Joe argued. "But look at what's happening right now. You're the ones threatening us with weapons. We just want to talk." Vorlex appeared unmoved. "Your recorded history is filled with warfare and destruction. The simulations are clear." "Simulations aren't reality." Alan joined in. "They can't account for everything. Humans are unpredictable." "That," said Vorlex, "is precisely what concerns the Council." Inside the crashed ship, Olivia watched in amazement as Krelax removed a glowing blue cylinder about the size of a coffee can from a hidden compartment. "This is it," he said, "the zero-point energy core. With this, you could power your entire planet without pollution." "Will it work with our technology?" Olivia asked. "With modifications, yes, it can be adapted." A loud bang from outside startled them. One of the retrieval team had fired a warning shot into the air. "Time is up, humans," Vorlex called. "Step away from the ship, or we will use force." Krelax and Olivia carefully moved out of the ship, the power core hidden in Olivia's backpack. They rejoined the others by the plane. "Now what?" Susan whispered. Before anyone could answer, a bright light appeared in the sky above them. It grew larger quickly, revealing itself as another ship, much bigger than Krelax's shuttle. Both humans and the retrieval team looked up in surprise. "That is a Council diplomatic vessel," Krelax said with shock in his voice. "They never intervened directly with pre-inclusion species." The large ship hovered overhead, casting a blue light over the field. A voice boomed from it, speaking in an alien language. Vorlex and his team immediately lowered their weapons. "What's happening?" Joe asked. Krelax listened intently. "It's Representative Mira, from the Eloth species. She was one of the 3 who voted against the protocol. She's ordering the retrieval team to stand down." "How did she know to come here?" Alan wondered. At that moment, Lisa's voice came through on Joe's cell phone. "Sheriff, are you there? We got through to them. Admiral Clark helped us send a message to the dissenters on the Council. They're sending a representative to hear us out." The diplomatic vessel landed gracefully on the field. A door opened, revealing a tall, slender being with silvery skin and gentle eyes. "Humans of Earth," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Representative Mira. The Council has agreed to give your species one opportunity to present your case. Choose your speakers wisely." Joe looked at his companions, then back at the phone where Lisa was still listening. "We have a plan," he said, "and a power core that might just save our planet." 1 week later, a small group of humans stood in the massive central chamber of the Galactic Council's mobile station orbiting Saturn. The chamber held representatives from 30 different species, all watching the humans with curious eyes. Commander Zixtal sat at the center, looking displeased. Dr. Alan Porter, Dr. Susan Miller, Sheriff Joe Harris, Major Lisa Wright, Eric Donovan, and Dr. Olivia Green had been chosen to represent Earth. Krelak stood with them as their guide. Representative Mira had arranged this unprecedented hearing. "This is most irregular," Commander Zixtal began. "No species has ever been granted a hearing after the protocol decision was made." "Yet here we are," Representative Mira replied calmly. "The rules allow for new evidence to be considered." Zixtal gestured impatiently. "Then present your new evidence, humans." Alan stepped forward first. He had prepared carefully for this moment. "Council members, your simulations predict that humans will bring conflict to the galaxy if allowed to develop naturally. But your models fail to account for a key aspect of human nature: our ability to adapt and find creative solutions." He nodded to Susan, who activated a holographic display showing Earth's current environmental challenges and projected outcomes. "You believe we cannot solve our planetary problems," Susan continued. "That will destroy ourselves before we reach the stars. But when presented with clear challenges, humans excel at finding solutions." Olivia took over next, displaying the zero-point energy core they had retrieved from Krelax's ship. "In just 1 week, we've begun to adapt this technology to Earth's power systems. Our initial tests show it could eliminate fossil fuel use within 5 years, not the 50 years your simulations projected." Eric stepped up, showing data from his analysis. "I studied your previous limitation protocol cases. In each instance, the species in question failed to demonstrate cooperative problem-solving on a global scale. Humans are different. Cooperation," Zixtal scoffed. "Your planet has thousands of ongoing conflicts." Lisa addressed this directly. "Yes, we fight. We disagree. But in crisis, we come together." World War I, the International Space Station, the global pandemic response of 2020. When truly threatened, human nations work as one. The council members murmured among themselves. Some seemed impressed. Others remained skeptical. Joe Harris, who had been quiet until now, walked to the center of the chamber. Unlike the others, he wore no special uniform or suit, just his sheriff's clothes. "I'm not a scientist or a soldier," he began. "I'm just an ordinary human. When I found Krelax, I could have turned him in. That would have been the safe choice. Instead, I helped him because he was in trouble. That's what humans do." Joe looked directly at Zixtal. "You think we're dangerous because we're passionate and sometimes aggressive. But those same qualities make us protect what we care about. We fight for our families, our world, and our future. Yes, we make mistakes, but we learn from them." He gestured to his companions. "Look at what we accomplished in just 1 week. Imagine what we could do as part of your galactic community. Don't limit us. Partner with us." The chamber fell silent. Then, from the back, a large reptilian council member spoke. "The human makes a compelling argument. Their adaptability could be an asset, not just a threat." Another member, floating in a liquid-filled container, added, "Their different perspective might solve problems we have struggled with for centuries." Zixtal raised his hands for silence. "You present interesting points. But words are easy. The limitation protocol exists because we have seen too many species destroy themselves and others. Then give us a chance to prove ourselves with actions, not just words," Susan suggested. "What do you propose?" Mira asked. A test, Alan replied. Let us demonstrate what humans can do when given a clear challenge. If we succeed, you reconsider the protocol. The council members began discussing among themselves, their various languages creating a strange symphony. After several minutes, Zixtel spoke. The council will deliberate. You will have our answer tomorrow. As the humans were escorted from the chamber, Joe whispered to Krelax, Did we convince them? I don't know, the alien replied honestly. No one has ever challenged the council this way before. The humans spent a restless night in the quarters provided for them on the council station. None of them slept much. The fate of Earth and all humanity rested on the council's decision. What happens if they say no? Eric asked, staring out a viewport at the stars. We fight anyway, Lisa replied firmly. We warn Earth. We prepare. Joe shook his head. There must be another way. Fighting a war against the whole galaxy doesn't make sense. Maybe we could hide the power core technology, Olivia suggested. Start developing it secretly. Ellen and Susan exchanged looks. They had been talking quietly in the corner. Actually, Susan said, we have another idea. But we didn't want to share it until we were sure. Before she could continue, the door opened. Krelax and Representative Mira entered. The council has reached a decision, Mira announced. They will see you now. The humans followed them back to the central chamber. All 30 council members were present. The room felt tense. Commander Zixtel stood. After much debate, the council has reached a verdict. We have never faced a situation quite like this one. The humans held their breath as Zixtel continued. The standard limitation protocol will be. He paused, suspended. A wave of relief passed through the humans, but Zixtel wasn't finished. Instead, Earth will become the first test case of a new approach. The Collaborative Development Protocol. We will establish an open embassy on your moon. We will share certain technologies and knowledge that will help Earth solve its environmental problems. In return, humanity will contribute its unique perspectives to galactic affairs. Mira stepped forward. The Council was most impressed by your rapid adaptation of Krelax's power core technology. It showed an ingenuity that our simulations failed to predict. Another Council member added, your proposal to be tested rather than limited showed confidence and character. These are traits we value. Joe could hardly believe what he was hearing. So Earth is safe. No limitation. Correct, Zixtel confirmed. Though we will be watching closely. This is an experiment, not a final decision. Ellen smiled. We understand. And we appreciate the chance to prove ourselves. After the formal proceedings ended, the humans gathered with Krelax and Mira in a smaller room. I have one more announcement, Mira said. Krelax has requested to remain on Earth as the Council's permanent liaison. His request has been granted. Krelax looked almost embarrassed. I find humans interesting. I would like to learn more about your species. Joe clapped the alien on his shoulder. You're welcome to stay at my place until you find your own. 1 month later, Joe sat on the porch of his Nebraska farmhouse. Beside him, Krelax watched the sunset with all 3 eyes wide. Your star creates beautiful colors as it sets, the alien observed. One of the perks of having an atmosphere, Joe replied with a smile. Much had changed in the months since their return from the Council station. An international team led by Dr. Olivia Green had begun implementing the zero-point energy technology in major cities. Dr. Alan Porter and Dr. Susan Miller headed a new global space initiative preparing for deeper exploration of the solar system. Major Lisa Wright had been appointed Earth's first ambassador to the Council, with Eric Donovan leading the team building communication systems to connect Earth with galactic networks. The Council embassy on your moon will be completed next week, Krelax said. Ambassador Wright will attend the opening ceremony. Joe nodded. Hard to believe how much has changed so quickly. That is what impressed the Council most about humans, Krelax admitted. Your ability to adapt and change. No other species we've encountered can transform so rapidly. "We're just getting started," Joe said, looking up at the stars that now seemed closer than ever before. The council had a plan for Earth, but humans had a better one. And this is just the beginning. In the deepest part of the council station, Commander Zixtal reviewed the new simulations. They showed thousands of possible futures for Earth and humanity. In 82% of them, humans became valuable members of the galactic community, bringing innovation and new ideas to species far older than themselves. "Remarkable," he murmured to himself. "For once, I am pleased to have been proven wrong." The stars continued to shine, no longer distant points of light, but future destinations for a species that had earned its place among them. The end.